Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode for Holy Harlot. I'm Mary Lisa, and this is the sanctuary for the untamed, the sacred, and the unapologetically sensual. I'll be your guide into the realms of embodied pleasure, divine feminine power, and the magic of full-bodied soul deep liberation. In these episodes, we dismantle shame, we awaken what is sacred, such as the codes to your pleasure. And if you're ready to shed the good girl conditioning or the overgiver, overhealer, and activate your body as a portal, you will step into your full magnetism. And you'll remember who the fuck you are. So welcome back in. Please support this channel by becoming a member. Since it's ad-free, that would be super helpful. I want to talk today about something that I'm currently moving through in a massive way, and that is getting stuck in one archetype, such as the healer or the giver, and how we can return to a more full embodied self with the whole spectrum and all the archetypes. So in the Holy Harlot coursework, we're currently moving through portal number 4, which is exploring the archetypes, such as the lover, the whore, the maiden, the mystic, the muse, the mother, the priestess, the warrior. There are so many archetypal versions that live within the woman, yet somehow we get stuck in one over time. We become only the mother. We become only the giver. We become only the priestess. And when we are only shining light on one part of ourselves, she has to hold up everything, and it becomes such a struggle, such a strife. And the whole reason for Holy Harlot coursework is to get you out of stress, to get you out of struggle, to relax your feminine or relax your masculine so that you can come more fully into the feminine. And there's like an array of what that looks like. So when we pigeonhole ourselves in just one version of ourselves, one archetype, we are disservicing our divinity. We are disservicing the world, and we feel it. We're stressed out, we're tired, we're fatigued, we're not happy, we're not having fun, we don't feel sexy, and we don't feel beautiful. Blah. So yeah, that's what I am currently examining in my life. Probably because that's exactly what I'm working through with the Holy Harlot girls right now. And I want to share with you some experience that I had over the weekend. So a little bit of background. I talk a lot about how I'm like a recovering control addict. I've been addicted to many things in my life, and all of it was like a search for wholeness. All of it was like trying to be numb and outside of my body, but really not knowing that my body was the key to the full life that I so desperately wanted. And I've played many roles. Like I've gotten stuck in the whore archetype. I've gotten stuck in the maiden archetype and in the lover archetype. And what I know for a fact is that they all need to come out and play kind of equally, right? And right now I'm stuck in the healer or overgiver archetype. And talking about what I struggle with has always been hard for me because I had an eating disorder for a long time. Trigger warning. Maybe I should have said that first. And it's just so full circle for me because the eating disorder came about because I needed a way to step out of my body. I needed a way to control everything around me, but it, obviously was killing me. And so I got really good at pretending everything was fine. I wanted everything to look great from the outside that it became so normal for me to like reject help, to appear as if I had it all together. I remember telling one of my cousins one time, like, yeah, I just got back from 8 months in eating disorder treatment. And she was like, what are you talking about? you seem so perfect. Like, we all look at you and are like, well, Mary-Lisa's got it all together. I'm like, I know, it was exhausting. It was killing me. And the reason why I bring that up is because something really magical happened for me over the last week. I have some amazing clients, and many of them I've become deep in friendship with. And so Jackie, actually, who has been on a few episodes here, she had a birthday recently and was like, come down to San Diego, celebrate with us. And I was like, yes, let me get away from this Portland cold weather and step out of this kind of my regular routine. So I really identify as being an extroverted introvert. Like, I'm naturally introverted, but I love to be around people, but I need a lot of downtime, and I'm like a cat. Like, I need my nest, right? Cancer rising over here. And so I was super excited to go. And so that's also where I went to eating disorder treatment, maybe like 8 years ago. And so I texted my old therapist and I was like, hey, I'll be in town, like, let's have lunch. And she was like, oh, come speak as an alumni at the eating disorder treatment. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. But I did, because it's nice to be of service. I always tell myself, it's nice to be of service. Let me just give and give and give. And so I set all that up. I get to San Diego and spend some amazing time with amazing women. And, it's a little uncomfortable being out of a home space and with and around so much energy. We did, like a 3 or 4 hour tantric embodiment workshop. I'm also like working with a business coach for like Holy Harlot. Like, there's a lot on my plate right now. And there's a lot on my plate right now because my nervous system is in love with overworking. It's just like what she knows naturally. So I have to put in the effort for pleasure and for fun. And so I get down there and I really start noticing that I need help. Like, my emotions aren't right. I'm menstruating. I'm like bleeding a lot, and I'm just like not in the space. Like, I'm not in the fun space that I want to be in. And I'm like beating myself up. Why can't I just be more fun? Why can't I let loose? And in talking with my guides and some self-reflection, they were like, you got to ask for what you need. Like, if you're feeling sensitive, say so. You don't need a reason for not wanting to go to a club in San Diego. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just talk about how you're feeling. And so naturally, before, I would have just shut down. I would have gone so crab mode, so in my, shell, that like, people would be like, oh, she's icy or she's acting weird. And so I tried to verbalize where I was at, and they're such safe women. However, what I'm getting at is that it's always hard for me to like let people know when I'm not my best. Like, I always want to put on like, everything's great, this is so great, this is the magic. But the whole point of accessing the Holy Harlot is like flowing with everything. Every emotion, every circumstance, like, it's truly a dance. And so I really got some amazing opportunities to verbalize that I need some space, or that was a lot for me, or, oh my gosh, I accidentally smoked marijuana, and I say accidentally because I do not like marijuana. It's not for me. I get really, really panicked. And I accidentally had some in a vape, and I just started bawling. And I'm trying to hold it together to be this like, vision of like, everything's great, I'm the healer, like, how can I help you? And I just start fraying. I start coming undone. I'm crying. The girls are holding me. What can I do for you? What do you need? And like, of course, I'm like, I don't know, just like in this, like, not in me. And I don't like those feelings. So after I got unhigh, I was so mad at John Michael, my healing master. I was like, how could you let that happen to me? How could you let that happen to me? That's not ever what I would choose for myself. And he was like, you asked for people to hold you. That's what you wanted. You wanted people to hold space for you. So guess what? You gave them an opportunity to do so. And it was so powerful and so moving. And it was right in line with kind of why I needed to go to treatment in the first place. Because I did not know how to let go and surrender and allow people to hold me up and support me. And I was talking to a client today, and she's, kind of having a hard time recently. There's some things going on in her life, and she's like, I just look at you and everything seems so great. And I put a full stop in the session, and I was like, let me explain to you how the way I'm presenting and holding space does not mean everything in my life is going gloriously. We exist in the contrast. And I was like, this is what's happening, that's what's happening, this. And she goes, oh, it's so refreshing to hear that not everything is always so beautiful in your life or whatever. And we were laughing because it's so true. It's so human to share vulnerabilities, right? And we live in a time of so much social media, so much presenting of this is the face I want you to see, this is the outcome, but the behind the scenes is so much deeper, so much more thorough, so much more juicy. And juicy is dark, juicy is sticky, there's always something, right? But the Holy Harlot is about what we choose to do with that. Are we going to keep resisting those parts of ourselves, fracturing her off, saying, stay down there, stay in the dark. This is the only way I want the world to see me. And as we do that, we become stressed. We feel ugly. We feel dissatisfied. We're wondering where all the fun went in our life. And that's why. Because we're trying so dearly to hold on to one part of our identity when we really need to be in flow. The feminine energy is about the multitudes, right? She destroys. Oh, I guess that goes she destroys. She creates. She destroys. She creates. She destroys. And there's something so beautiful about letting that flow, utter self-approval. I guess this is where I need to be. I need to be in the juicy darkness. I need to really feel all of this. And, we can get a handle on it a lot so that they don't overtake you. But let me find the notes because there's some good. So in neuroplastic identity expansion is this idea, and this is straight from the Holy Harlot notes. The brain can rewire itself when we embody new roles with intention, movement, and story. So the idea of cognitive flexibility also says the same thing. Being able to access multiple archetypes increases your resilience, your creativity, and your confidence. You become adaptable without abandoning yourself. So the more we allow the other pieces of us to shine and share the load and share the weight, we become more resilient. So if you find that you're often down in the dumps, life is hard, it's a struggle, I'm stressed, it's because you're only living in one role and she's tired. She's fucking tired, right? So this is the invitation for this episode. The part of you that's tired is really asking for other pieces of you to come forward and shine. And I almost guarantee you it's going to be the playful piece of you, the silly piece of you, the sexy piece of you, the flirty piece of you. And in the coursework, we go over and identify and make action plans about how you can do that. But since, we're not in the Holy Harlot right now, that's something you're going to have to decide for yourself. How can I bring fun into my day? How can I bring flirt into my day? My girls who have healing masters, I'm always ask your healing master to run your energy for that specific ask before you set up your day. So for example, today I'm waking up all tired. I still have to clean the house. I'm not unpacked. I'm so busy. I have so many sessions. I'm stacked. I'm already stressed when I wake up. And so I'm just like, don't Michael, run my energy for fun. I want this to all be just a little bit more fun. I want to just, notice flowers and breathe and laugh. And in 10 minutes, I'm noticing that a friend texts me something that I laugh about. And so Abraham Hicks would call that segment intending. What we're going to do is talk about the archetypes. That's my long-winded version of being like, we're talking about archetypes today. So welcome in. Okay, so chronic healer and giver syndrome. There's a lot going around right now about this idea of overhealing. Like, what if healing, first of all, just means change. And at some points, our nervous system starts to play a trick on us. Our ego starts to play a trick on us. We're in the healing journey, but we're always looking for something wrong with us that needs to be healed. So it's counterproductive. Let me be very clear. There's nothing wrong with you. Say it from the back. There's nothing wrong with you. There is so much right with you that we're just going to try to bring those pieces up. Hello, Holy Harlot. Knock, knock, knock. Here she comes. We want to let go of self-sacrifice, of depleting yourselves for others, and identity entrapment. Okay? So this is what happens when you get stuck in one role, such as the healer or the giver role. It's an absolute energetic drain, right? We talked about if you're only if this role is the only one taking on the brunt of you doing everything, then that role gets tired. It's like a character. You get stuck in a character. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this too in his book on becoming supernatural. We use the same neural pathways over and over again. So let's use my brain as an example. I'm using the healer-giver mode so often that groove becomes the deepest. So that when I say, maybe, Mary Lisa, you can make time for ecstatic dance tonight, and then the groove says, no, we've got too many things to record. We've got to respond to all those emails. You've got to, usher in this business model and report to your, and talk to all your friends. Like, it will continue to find reasons why that's not what we need to do, right? Think again back to episode, oh my gosh, I forget, 2 or 3 about that reticular activating system. It will filter out information. It will negate information that is not in current alignment with what you're doing, which is overgiving and overhealing, right? Holding too much space for others and just emptying yourself out. This leads to a depleted biofield. So if you haven't had a biofield session with me before, think of it as like the outer layer of your aura, right? We have 7 main auras. The biofield is the outer main one, and it's like your boundary, your border. And it's meant to protect and magnetize. So if it's, sorry, that's my chair. If it's weak, it will start to get really gappy. And if it's gappy, it will be a weak electromagnetic frequency, which means you now have low voltage. Low voltage feels like stress, fatigue, hair falling out, skin problems, low digestion, digestive issues. You don't have enough voltage for your body to regenerate itself. It's also psychic exhaustion. You'll start noticing how things just keep poking holes in themselves because you're running on an energy that says, I'm unsafe, I don't have enough. And so the psychic energy says, okay, surely, let's give you some more of that. And here's some more body consequences, right? So when you give too much of yourself, it leads to elevated cortisol. So think extra weight around the belly. Think of, skin issues. Think of unable to sleep. unable to maintain energy levels. It can lead to a lot of other hormone imbalances too, like low progesterone and some thyroid dysfunction. Also, this idea of being overgiving, right? Which actually is a stress response. I have to give more to receive more. Just fight me on it all you want. That's just not true. You have to receive more to give more, right? But anyways, if you're stuck in your sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, just like stress, you're just stressed or anxious and you're always finding more ways to be stressed or anxious, right? It causes your fascia to be tight, like, which is your largest organ, bigger than the skin, because it conducts all the electromagnetic messages of your body. It will create shallow breathing. It will shut down your pelvic floor because you're in output mode 24/7, sometimes even when you're sleeping. So also your brain chemistry shifts when you're in overgiving mode, when you're stuck in one paradigm. Your dopamine and your serotonin will absolutely tank because there's not a lot of fun to be had. You're super stressed out trying to maintain this image or this identity because you've grown so attached to it. Like, who am I if I'm not the healer? Who am I if I'm not the giver? And so your happy hormones are like, nobody's filling them up. You're certainly not. And then therefore external circumstances certainly are not. I remember when I was getting my psychology degree, one of my favorite things that I remember about happiness was that I think it was something like only 17% of happiness is due to circumstance. Yeah. So what is the other, math. What is the other 83% due to? It's an internal function, just like that mirror analogy. If I'm yelling at the mirror, smile, the mirror is also yelling at me. But if I smile first, then the mirror will smile back at me. As within, so without. So that's why we work so much on pleasure, on retraining the brain, the body, and the chemistry to feel safe to ask for something different and to learn through something different. Babies don't learn through suffering. And so what is this culture around, like, so adults must? I challenge you to drop that agreement that you must learn through suffering, that you must learn through stress. Babies are like the best example. They learn through pleasure, fun, excitement. Does that feel good? Do I like that? And they're quick to let you know if they don't. They're so in tune with their vibrations and their emotions that they generally always get what they want, right? If we can embody this, like, this energy where it's truly just living moment to moment, then our nervous system will have to, relax, right? It will begin its downshift. You can become addicted to being needed as the sense of identity. Think of, that kind of mother archetype. Like, one of the downfalls of the mother archetype is like, I need to be needed. I don't know who I am if I'm not needed. And while that may feel true, it doesn't have to be. You can empower the other archetypes. And what you do when you step out of that kind of overgiving, overhealing mode is you become more magnetic, more in a vibrational alignment with all your desires and your pleasure. And like we talk about so much on here, your pleasure matters first so that you can shine that light elsewhere. People, family, friends, business, it all succeeds more and gets blessed more when you are shining. And what does that mean, when you are shining? When you are at peace, when you decide to do fun things for yourself, when you chase pleasure rather than pain. And these are all shifts, right? That's why Holy Harlots is a 12-week course, because it's a shift, it's a practice. and you can totally do it. You can learn to change your life through pleasure. Okay. So probably a lot of you watching are really into manifestation, which is so amazing, but you feel like maybe most of the time manifestation doesn't work for you, or it only works sometimes. The reason that is because opportunities, desires, and abundance, they kind of all drift away as your magnetism collapses. A weak magnet doesn't attract anything. So how do we become a strong magnet? We pour into ourselves. We allow ourselves to be really polarizing. We stand for what we want and we stand against what we don't want. That creates a larger magnetic field where, number one, you won't have to protect yourself as much because your energy will do it for you. And number two, it grabs the things that are in a divine alignment to you. So how you feel matters most. How you feel matters most. How you feel matters most. Whew. So here are some deeper spiritual consequences to over-identification with the helper over the creator. When you stop being the priestess who channels life, you stop being the muse who channels art. You become the nurse who bandages wounds. And I know that kind of sounds like, a shot to nurses. No, nurses are so vitally important, but also extremely stressed out, a lot of the times overgivers. And so whatever role you find yourself in, just ask yourself if you're giving yourself enough. And I'm not like talking TV for 3 hours after you get back, right? Sometimes I do that, and sometimes distraction is necessary, but it's not what will build your reserve for pleasure, excitement, peace, love. The things that will do that is by shining the light on the other identities that live within you, allowing them to come out and play. When you become constantly available, it removes the wild and untouchable sacredness that makes you as the Holy Harlot, as the divine feminine, as the person that you are, magnetic, right? When you're just always like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go, people just take it for granted, right? It doesn't become a gift anymore. They haven't had to develop that with you. I don't want to say they haven't had to work for it, right? Because we're not saying like you have to work for love, but the concept of being in the female body is that you need to be so filled up first that light overflows. But if you constantly are just giving without receiving, we need to switch that around for you. You need to receive first so that you can give. And being overly available is like saturating the market for your energy, right? So if you have friends that you're constantly trying to reach out and make plans with, and you're always the one that you feel like you're doing all of that work, or you're constantly checking how the social media is going, hello me, right? What you're doing is you're pulling away the magnetism from it. It's just an energetic law. It's like not a judgment. Like, don't show up for your friends. Fucking show up for your friends. Show up for your business. But when you are like in this kind of desperation vibration, it depletes you. You push the opposing force away from you. Like the more you try to reach for it, the farther away it gets. But if you pull back into yourself, it follows you like the magnet that it needs to be. You first. You first. I mean, obviously I was on a plane a lot this weekend, 4 different planes. And every time, I try to sit up front so that I can get off the plane first. And, they let families on first and give them those spaces. And every time someone would come up to wherever a baby was seated with their parents and they had to check in. Just so you know, if the air masks fall, you have to put yours on first. Do you agree? And all the parents would be like, yes. It's not choosing you over a child or choosing you over anything else. It's making sure you're well enough to be there for them, right? I know this is so hard for the healer, helper, mother to hear, but it will save your life. It will save their lives. Imagine a child growing up that didn't have parents that were pleased, that were constantly stressed out, that were high and tight and overwrung and, sick and running themselves into the ground. Or a parent who was so attuned with like what pleases them, what's fun, how can we enjoy ourselves, and like how do you feel? Like the vibration is so different. And we all have the circumstances that we have, right? There's no use looking back and judging ourselves for the way things went or how we acted. Like there's really no fucking point to that. So I encourage you to only use that example as like today. Today you can choose different. Today you can be pleased and, watch how life then begins to please you. Okay. All right, so here's some reframes as the Holy Harlot that you are. The role of you are not here in life to be a giver. I've seen so much stuff on social media and in books like, you're here to be of service. I honestly don't believe that. I believe that service is a beautiful byproduct of us embodying our pleasure, right? I really do think people like Mother Teresa, it brought them pleasure to be of service. So the biggest, you're also not here to learn. Like this isn't like a task for you to be here on earth. I hear that a lot too in the spiritual community, and like maybe there's some validity on it or a lot of validity on it. I just truly think that we are on earth to have experiences. We're gathering intel, we're gathering circumstances so that we can learn how to create. And a lot of us are so addicted to pain and suffering that we keep creating more pain and suffering. So we're here to break that in Holy Harlots. Say it after me. I am no longer addicted to pain and suffering, and I open the door to passion, pleasure, and fun. That's the door we want to choose to go through each day. And every once in a while we get swung back to pain and struggle, and that is okay, right? That's part of the wholeness of being alive. I think that we're here on earth to enjoy ourselves. I think that we're here to discover what we want to create. And, being the lover, being the mother, being the whore, being the maiden, the muse, those are all the things that come out of us as we decide in each moment what we want to create. I remember I was out to lunch and I asked a friend, what are 3 desires for yourself right now? She was like, what? Like, yeah, what are 3 things that you desire right now? She's like, I don't know. Like, come on, seriously, just tell me. Like, what are things that you want? She's like, I'm for my family to be happy. And it killed me a little bit. And I realized that that's really common. Some people are just really not attached to desires. But I think that when we have desires, it leads us to creation. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to create and commingle and be the little universal god and goddess that we're playing in this world. This is a playground. And some people have terrible experiences on the playground, and some people have great experiences on the playground. No matter where you come from, no matter what trauma you've been through, right? Today, you can choose to have a better experience on the playground. And we do that by identifying what we desire. What do we want? From the small to the big. I desire to go to the gym today and like see my reflection and be like, damn, that's a hot lady. I also desire for Holy Harlots to be like an international phenomenon, like the big to the small. Like as soon as we start talking, we gain momentum. One of the very first classes that I recorded for the psychic development course was called Intro to Energy. And it's basically about how plasma, this fourth state of matter, right, which we have matter, liquid, or solid, liquid, and gas. And the fourth state is plasma, which is the unformed of all three others. And that's how psychics, energy work, intuitives, that's what we're doing. We're connecting through this plasmic soup that touches everything everywhere all at once, and we're reading the energy. And so when you start to talk about your desires, when you start to brag about yourself, when you start to think about what would actually be fun to do today in your, spare time, even if it's just 10, 20 minutes, then you start playing with the plasma, and the plasma responds like, oh, she's looking for fun. Got it, got it, got it, got it. And then in an hour, in a day, in a month, like those things have shifted for you because you used your consciousness. We are here to live, play, pulse, seduce, create, and be healed by the experiences that we have in life, in and of itself. Your full embodiment, right? When you start to shine the light on the other pieces of you, you become so in tune with what you need, when, and how to get it. There is so much less effort involved. I want you to think of this idea that like your mind is not the most powerful part of you. I would say your consciousness is, but like consciousness is like the overarching theme. Then we have the tool, which is the mind. Okay, we also have the body, which has a bunch of different minds of its own. So if we get everything in line together, we don't have to overthink, overstress, and get stuck in our masculine. We can actually start to play around with these other roles and paradigms within us. So I'm going to list to you some of the archetypes and when to use them. And I want you to like think or even journal about how comfortable you are with those archetypes and pick one for this week that you're like, that's the one that I want to work with this week. And ways to work with it obviously is out in public, creating an art piece, doing a dance, or even acting it out in a mirror, which is one of my favorite ways. If I can act it out in a mirror of like, I'm the muse and you're just like stunned by like how I dress and move my body and you're so inspired, you want to come talk to me, right? That's like one option. Or you're the priestess and you dress in scarves and put all your jewelry on and you walk outside and you're like, people can feel my oracle energy. Like whatever you need to do, whatever feels accessible. And this might feel silly and challenging. Like, oh, that's stupid. Great. Do something stupid. Truly, do something that feels cringe or weird, because your body, your soul, and your mind cannot sustain off of one identity. Just play around. Just like dedicate to yourself. You're going to do one of these. Okay. So the first one is the whore. She's great at triggering and transmuting. She's bold. She doesn't care about how her experience is experienced by others. Cunning, cocky, magnetic. And the whore is not about having sex. The whore is oozing sexual godhood energy. How she uses it is up to her. The mother. When you need to nourish, create, or hold with depth. The lover is when you want to flirt with life and melt open and seduce the moment by how much love you have pouring out of your womb and your heart space. It's like this giant, like slow moving tsunami is what I see in my mind. The maiden is the one that I'm trying to play with the most right now. This is about innocence, play, and softness. When I walk Sullivan in the morning, there's this like little park by the creek, and there's always a swing. And so I let Sullivan off leash and I swing on the swing, and I just like feel so cute and happy for like 5 minutes. And then, you know, my analyzer comes in and is like, that's enough fun for today. You've got to get to work. But it's like those moments add up for me. Those moments expand me. And as I get expanded, I welcome in new opportunity and new connections. That's the whole point here. Someone on the outside will be like, she's, you know, a 34-year-old woman swinging on a swing, laughing her ass off. What the hell is she up to? But I know that magic is created by having fun. Okay? And so we also have the mystic, which is when you seek answers from within. You trust without explanation. And you understand that the forces are always at work and are at play for the highest benefit when you can get out of the way. That should be a song. I just rhymed. The muse is someone who's able to inspire through beauty, style, radiance, and charm. This is like, it is a little bit like seductress, but it's like this art, this like, there's not like a manipulative quality, I feel like, to the muse, which there are a lot of manipulative qualities to the archetypes, but not in like the negative way. It's like, I know that in this moment, the only way to get my partner to, you know, process this with me is if I start like pretend punching him in the arm, right? A lot of the archetypes are really good at transmuting energy. Like that's what the feminine does. It helps like open things up. So when I say the word manipulation, it's never for nefarious. You know, it's always to be helpful, to transmute whatever is going on, to like get ourselves and others and situations deeper and closer to spirit, actually. And then we have the warrior. When you need to protect yourself or others, when you need to set boundaries or fiercely claim your space. And the warrior is a fun one because it's got, you know, some sort of masculine energy, but it's this idea that the strong part of you needs to come out so strongly that there's not really any room for what if I'm wrong. So a lot of women get caught in positions where they're like, oh, I don't want to overreact. The warrior says, fuck that, I'll overreact. Like I've got things to protect. And it's also kind of like this, I like to see a cord from the warrior attached directly to source, to spirit. It's like, if I think that I'm doing this, I know that I'm doing this for the right reasons, then I can't be wrong. Right? It's like getting rid of this like fear of offending people, right? And a lot of times the warrior comes out in big and aggressive ways at first as we swing that pendulum in practice with her. So, I hope that you found one that you really want to practice embodying. Again, my favorite is like acting it out in the mirror. Or even just like saying, I'm going to go take myself to dinner and I'm going to bring the maiden with me. Like, who, me? You want to buy me a drink? Another fun thing I did, was she just kind of sprung out of me, right? Because I'm asking John Michael all the time, like, run me some playful energy, run me some playful priestess energy. And the line was super long. We were at this event and there was a man in front of us, and I was like, oh, this guy, he looks like he'll let 3 beautiful women cut in front of him, right? And I knew I was being silly, I knew I was being sexy, and I knew I was being fun. And so there was no harm in it. It's just like this invitation to play, right? And that's not my typical archetype. In fact, I remember a time where I shut down most of my archetypes because I'd feared that I had gone too far in some aspects, right? And so really taking time with each one of these versions of you. Like some of them may need healing. Some of them may need to regain their trust in you and you in them. So that's why it's a process. And whatever you're going through, whatever your experience, please write it in the comments. Like, let's open up conversation around this. Okay, so here's some practical shifts. I want you to kind of see if this agreement feels good for you. Before I give to anyone else, I must feed my own fire. You're also going to try to choose one act each day purely for yourself with no apology, no guilt. If you notice guilt creep up, I want you to actually laugh out loud and be like, no, thank you, no guilt today, and flush it down your grounding cord. And here is a goddess affirmation for you. So the Holy Harlot says, I'm not a fountain for others to sip from. I am an ocean who chooses when and where to flow. When you gain more of yourself and realize how potent it is to have all versions of you online so that they can come and go as they please, you become so much more powerful, so much more magnetic. You start to see the glow, like you're the light that shines in the room. And it's not by outshining others, it's simply by being so full of eros, of sex, of magic, of godhood that like people can't look away. That's the magic here. All right, so as a closing reflection, I just kind of want you to think about like, what role have I gotten stuck in recently, and what archetype am I willing to practice with this week? And if you feel like you're ready to heed the invitation to really step into the Holy Harlot, you want to feel sexy, you want to feel powerful, you're done with overworking yourself, with overstressing yourself, and you're ready to do it community style with other women and myself, schedule a discovery call. Let's talk about your problem points and how Holy Harlots can help you through it. Anyways, I guess I'm signing off. So thanks for being here, and don't forget to support this channel. Thank you for all the comments and all the views as we bring this juicy channeling and awareness to the people that need it the most. Us. Love you.